Chapter 4, Section 6, the second part is about solving absolute value inequalities. So yesterday we focused on absolute value equations. Today it's going to be a little different because we're going to have those alligators in there. So by the end of the lesson, you should be able to solve these. So let's take a look at these two inequalities. The first one says the absolute value of x is less than 3. Remember, this means that the distance from 0 is less than 3. So think about all your options here. We can't equal 3, so we have an open circle, but any of these numbers till we get to 0 have a distance less than 3. And same exact thing on the opposite side. We can't equal -3, but anything this way has a distance from 0 that is less than 3. So in order to solve these inequalities, absolute value inequalities are going to be written as compound inequalities, the and or thing that we did. So because this one goes in the middle, we're basically saying that all of our x's, all of our solutions, are anything less than 3 and anything greater than -3. So this is an and compound inequality. Now if we look at this other one, we have that the absolute value of x is greater than 3. That means that the distance from 0 is more than 3. So again, go back to the number line. We can't equal 3, but a distance more than 3 would be anything this way. And then also we have the opposite side of the number line. If they're anywhere this way, they have a distance that's more than 3. So the solutions to this are any numbers that are greater than 3 or any numbers that are less than -3. So this is an or equation. So the thing to remember with both of these is to take a look at your beginning sign. If you have a less than, it's going to be and. If you have a greater than, it's going to be or. So less than is and, greater than is or. So LA and go are the two words you're going to make. So here's that rule. It says to solve an inequality in the form the absolute value of A is less than B, where A is a variable expression. So remember, that just means this can be lots of stuff. It could just be an x, or it could be like 2x plus 26 or something. Whatever's in there, if you have a less than, it's an and compound inequality. And then it says the same thing, but if it's a greater than symbol, it's an or inequality. And then remember, if you have the equal to, it's exactly the same rule. Just follow one of these. So let's do a problem. Solve this. Graph the solutions. So this, remember, is saying that whatever's in here has to have a distance that's greater than or equal to 4. So because we have a greater than symbol, we need an or equation. So that means we're going to split this up into the v minus 3 could be greater than or equal to 4, or the other option is v minus 3 could be less than or equal to -4. Remember, we do this just like we did the equations. You have two options that are 4 spaces away from 0, +4 and -4. And because this is an or equation, you want your two things to go out. So it could be any number bigger than 4, but then any number less than -4 is also going to work. So then we just have to solve these. And hopefully once you make it this far, the solving part's a piece of cake. So v can be greater than or equal to 7, or v can be less than or equal to -1. And that wants us to graph the solutions. So we have 0, 7 will be way up here, -1 will be back here. It can equal -7 or be anything bigger, and it can equal -1 and be anything less. Let's do another one. Solve and graph the absolute value of w plus 2 is less than 5. So remember, this is saying that all of this stuff has a distance that's less than 5 spaces away from 0. So again, if we broke out a number line, 5 would be here, -5 would be here. We want everything in between. So we're going to split this up, and the two things that we get are this w plus 2 has to be less than 5, and this w plus 2 could be greater than -5. And then because of this plus 2 in here, we got to move things around. So I want to subtract 2 from both sides. So I get w is less than 3. Do the same thing over here. I get w has to be greater than -7. So now remember, for ands, most of the time we write it with the w in between. The bigger number goes on the right, the smaller number goes on the left. I want w to be greater than -7, but less than 3. You can leave it like this if you want to with the and in between, but we tend to write it together. So that when we go to graph it, we got 0 again, -7 would be way down here, and 3 here. We're not equaling either of them, so open circles, and we end up everywhere in between. So the hardest part, the part that people are going to struggle with, is remembering to kind of flip this over right here. You're not really flipping the sign, you're just making it go inside. And then on this one, we made it go outside the other direction. So we'll do lots of practice with these. Practice makes better. But right now, see if you can do these two on your own. Be careful, this one's a greater than or equal to sign, and this one's a less than or equal to sign. Make sure you write down any questions you have, and we can go over them in class. Have a good night.